In today's Idea of the Day, I'm going to talk a little bit about sound. Because some of the people who leave comments on my channel, well, both my channels for that matter, I have another channel called Coupon Pages, ask about the quality of my sound. They say, hey, you know, your sound is better than probably the majority of the channels on here. How do you do it? So they ask me how to do these things. I've been showing some of the tips of how I do my lighting, how I do my white balance. I'm going to show a little bit about how I do the editing and the green screens and all the other stuff. But today we're going to focus on sound and how I go about what I do. Now, truth be told, I have multiple ways of doing sound, and it depends on what I'm doing. But most of the time, where my sound comes from is this little lapel-like microphone right here. And the funny part about that is, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And I have purchased hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of audio gear over the years. I mean, I've bought big boom mics, I've bought condenser mics, all sorts of heavy duty equipment. And the reality is the mic I use 90% of the time, and probably 100% of the time on this channel, is this little microphone from a company called Neewer, N-E-E-W-E-R. And this microphone is $3. I'm not kidding, it's $3 on Amazon. And believe it or not, that $3 microphone is the one I use, even though I have, at this moment, on the top of my camera, I'm using a Canon EOS 70D, and mounted on the top of my 70D is a $200 Rode VideoMic. And in fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what the Rode VideoMic sounds like. By some magic in the editing, right now you should be listening to my voice as it actually came out of the Rode VideoMic. Now the camera's at least 4.5 feet away, which is the reason why I went to the lapel mic. But that's also my backup. So the reality is, at this moment, the only thing plugged into my camera is the Rode VideoMic. It's a VideoMic Pro. It's like a little boom mic. I'll put a picture of that there so you know what one looks like. It's about a $200 microphone. It's on the camera itself. So you're wondering, well, if this is on my lapel, where does this lead to? It doesn't lead to the camera. It's not wireless. No, it's a $3 microphone. You don't get $3 wireless microphones. That right now is going to something from a company called Zoom called the H1. Now, I have a review on my old channel about this, but this is a Zoom H1. It's basically a digital recorder. It's a digital recorder with built-in microphones, which I could actually use. In fact, I'm going to unplug from here, and now you're hearing my voice as it's coming out of the Zoom H1. So this is the sound of the Zoom H1 by itself. Now, if I put this back in here, it's now back to the lapel, and of course, this is Zoom H1, which, as I put it further away, doesn't necessarily sound as good, but you can see it's very close, and it picks up sounds if I move it around, and as I move that. So to avoid all that, use my lapel mic, which puts my sound right where it belongs, front and center. It has switches in the back, which are real simple, about whether it's going to save a WAV file. I use a WAV file. It has another switch about whether or not I have an automatic level. I leave that off, and I set the volume level based on listening to it with a headphone jack to a level that sounds good for where I place it. And then it has a third setting about whether it uses a low-cut filter. Although that's a great idea and it gets rid of a buzz that might be from devices or air conditioners around, I leave it off because I can always clean that up later if it is a problem, but I never have a problem with that. And that's it. I plug those in, I turn this on, and all I do is push one button to start and one button to stop. So, if I'm recording my sound on that, you're probably wondering, well, how does it get part of the video? Well, that I do through software. I use a program called Final Cut Pro on the Mac, but there are a lot of other programs that do likewise. What you do is you then end up with a WAV file coming out of there, it's on an SD card, and you have your original movie file, which come out of the camera. And what I then do is I bring them both into the same project, and I synchronize them so that they both start at the same point. Now, with a program like Final Cut, truth be told, they have a very simple button where you could choose the two clips, the audio and the video, and say synchronize, and it tries to line them up so that they are in sync. And then I turn off the original sound, and I tell it to play the other sound. All right, now this is getting technical, but the reality of it is, even though that's a very sophisticated feature built into the program, there is an actual way to do it without that. And there are third-party programs that do it, but again, let's just talk about how it was done, let's say, in old school movies. If you know, and you've seen anybody make a movie, they have those little clapboards, right? That make a clap. Now, what does that mean? Well, why did they make a clap back then? Well, because they always recorded sound in movies that way. They kept them separate. So, because the film cameras actually didn't have sound, so there would be a visual clap, right, along with the actual clap. So what they would do is, as they play it back, they would make the sound go to the exact moment where it hears the clap. And then they'd hit pause. And then they'd play the film until they see the visual clap. So you have the audible clap. As soon as you did that, they paused it. As soon as the visual clap, they paused it. And from that moment on, they keep playing in harmony. Now, how do you do that with software? With software, a clap, most software will show you the actual waves going up and down. So in that case, the sound of a clap is a visual spike going up. And now if you have the sound coming out of the camera, and it has that mic as I described before, it will have a visual spike where the clap was, and so will the reference audio file that I have there. So doesn't matter if you have a 20-minute video, as soon as you line up the first clap from the camera with the first clap from the audio, you're in sync for the rest of the way. Now, I use software to do that, but I still make a clap every time I start. And the reason for that is there may be subtle nuances in the sound that I want exactly right. I want there to be a very stark smacking sound at the beginning. I used to clap my fingers, but here's something I've done. I went to the pet store and I bought this little bugger here. It's a little clicker. Just to make it easier for the software, it actually makes it a little more reliable because it's a very short sound. It's not like someone's voice where there might be a humming sound, whereas the beginning of that, you can't tell as much, but it's very concrete that way. And if I was trying to do it visually as a backup, if the software's not doing a good job, I could see that click, 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 click. And once I line those up, it plays out. Now, it may sound like I'm going through an awful lot to do something as simple as this, but the reality is if you take that extra time to make a good quality sound, and by the way, as an alternative to this, because this is $100, the mic I said is $3, but as an alternative to this, believe it or not, one of the best sound recording devices you could buy right now, you may already have in your pocket, and that's an iPhone, which means you can use the voice recorder app in the iPhone to make that same secondary soundtrack. And then when you save your voice recording there, you then can export that through the share button and send it to yourself as an email, and you'd have it there. Now, the reality is the Apple voice recorder is decent quality, but there are some third-party voice recording ones, including one from Rode for like $1 or $2, whatever it may be. But there's a bunch of people who have voice recording apps on the iPhone App Store, and they make fantastic audio. And when you play that back, instead of using the $100 recorder, you're going to get great sound. And hopefully you're hearing great sound now, and that's the secret to the sound portion here. And in a future video, we'll talk a little bit about green screens and some other stuff. So you might want to subscribe to the channel if you're into just that part of it. And I'll talk more about all the other little nuances of what makes this channel look so good and sound so good. And hopefully the ideas are good, because that's what this channel is all about. Idea of the day.
So hey, thanks for watching. I don't really need any subscribers, but it would really be nice if you hit the subscribe button and shared this with your friends and told everybody how nice it is to be here and how there's lots of nice ideas every day. That would be nice. I don't need subscribers or anything like that. All I need is maybe this chair. And that's it, nothing else. Except maybe this paddleball game, the remote control, the ashtray, and the lamp. But that's it. I don't need anything else. Thanks.